Ra, बोलिए.
Hi, Vimoh, how are you?
Hello, I'm good. How are you?
First off, congrats on your subs. Really amazing to see your channel grow.
Thanks,
Um,
man. Thank you so much.
yeah, so I was wondering if you are diagnosing the problem of religion the right way, right? So I don't know if like my last comment actually conveyed the whole context of what I wanted to say. Essentially, my point is I don't think increased religiosity is because people actually believe in religion, right? I believe it is tribalism. So you have some tribes thinking the other tribes are getting all the resources. So the only way you get to counter that is you feel more kinship to your tribe.
Mm-hmm.
So in terms of like if you diagnose even what's happening in our country, right? So there is a majority religion that does feel like it is persecuted
Yeah,
in terms of I don't know, you can just pick up like stuff in the constitution. There are enough right-wing talking points, people can go
got
read
it,
up
got it,
upon them.
got it.
Yeah, but the thing is now constantly attacking them I don't think is actually going to solve your problem, right? Because it's just going to increase kinship to like
Well, we're not constantly attacking them because of their religiosity. My aim with this channel is that I want to bring into focus the irrationality of all religions. The reason it ends up being about irrationality of the majority religion is because it's the majority religion. In much
sure
the
I
same way as when an American atheist criticizes religion in America, their criticisms often take the shape of criticism of Christianity. Pakistani atheist will end up criticizing Islam because that is the मतलब उनके मोहल्ले में आइसक्रीम का सबसे पॉपुलर फ्लेवर वही है. So when they
and
talk about ice cream, they will inevitably end up talking about vanilla because that's what everyone eats.
sure, totally. So I get that point. I think we've spoken about this before on an earlier live stream
Yeah.
about like you criticizing the majority. I mean, I totally get where you're coming from. My point is like if the end goal is for us to reduce like this tribalism, right? Because I'll just give you some context. So I'm a believer, but I don't like the route that we are going on, right?
Hmm.
Because it doesn't end well for anyone. It's not going to end well for me. It's not
Yeah.
going to end well for
True.
minorities. It's not going to end well for anyone. The point that I'm trying to make is I don't think the way, and maybe this is not you, maybe this is just like the whole ecosystem that we have. I don't think attacking people is going to help, right? Like, for example, when you have Hindutva people attacking Muslims and like North religion, like you're
Hmm.
attacking regular people and they're obviously
Yeah.
going to defend themselves,
Yeah.
like
So
any way they see fit.
this has, I think, Ra, this has actually got two levels. One is that religions don't have feelings.
That's right.
Religions don't have lives that they can lose. At the end of the day, this is about real human beings on the ground living their lives. What happens when I criticize Hinduism? Some people feel bad. What happens when someone criticizes Islam in India? They end up contributing to the creation of a culture of Islamophobia and minority oppression, and that actually affects people's normal lives. It affects their lives in the workplace, in the classroom, as we have seen with the hijab row, in on the roads, in their eating habits, everywhere. So not all criticisms are equally damaging. When you criticize an already marginalized community, you're adding to what they're already suffering in a very real way. When you are criticizing a majority community, all you're doing is pissing them off. And that's something they can live with, I think. I certainly can.
So sure, I'm again like I think I agree there. Like I mean, if you're in a majority, like I'm sure you can take more criticism. I'm
Yeah.
not sure I fully agree it applies to every part of the country because there are regions where the majority
Yeah, I'm talking
minority
about the
dynamic.
overwhelming. Listen, if we want to find loopholes in any
No, no,
statement, you can, right? You
I'm
can.
not here to I'm not
You can
I'm not
find
here to
I
like
know, I know. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm saying anything that anyone says, you can find some gaps in it. I'm talking about, like, I wrote a piece some time ago about why I think it's okay to generalize sometimes, because we have evolved with, some certain evolutionary impulses about false positives and false negatives. So if I find a poisonous fruit in the forest and I generalize, assuming that every fruit that looks like this will be poisonous, then I'm safe because that is the case. If
okay.
I was the
So
adventurous sort who says that, yeah, we should not generalize, maybe the next fruit will be better, and I eat it, then I die. So evolutionarily, when we generalize, we are actually doing something that our brains have evolved to do. So when we are generalizing about something that is happening on a large scale, it's okay. I don't think it's a bad thing. Maybe it's logically fallacious. Maybe it's not exactly to fitting the parameters of what logical behavior should be. But by and large, it is useful. So when I say that there is large scale oppression of Muslims happening, I'm not talking about every single corner of India where it may not be happening. By and large, on the national front, when you turn on the TV, when you go to any political discussion in any family WhatsApp group, you know what is happening. I'm assuming you are from a Hindu background.
Yeah, I am
Yeah.
Hindu.
So you know what
Uh,
I'm talking about, generally speaking.
so yeah, I mean, I'm sure like everybody's aware of it. Like, and I think like we this conversation, right, like perfectly illustrated like the kind of point I'm trying to get at. So I'm not here to like do like a gotcha or anything. Like I honestly think you are one I would consider in the, I don't know if it's like the liberal ecosystem or whatever, who I think I can engage with, because I honestly think you're one of the smartest out of all of them. Like your arguments
Thanks,
make
man.
sense to me.
I disagree.
Uh,
I disagree wholeheartedly, but thank you.
yeah, yeah, but the point I was trying to make at is like the moment we try to like show one point against other, right? Like for example, like we can't generalize over the whole country. We get into
Mhm.
whataboutery where like you and me now we diverge from the topic, and now we are getting into like my facts or your facts, right? And I think that shuts down people. I think the a better way to approach this would be to actually tackle the core problem, right? So if you look at even at the Hindutva grievance, like what is the grievance there that they're looking at? Like, are there like for example, like there are like even if you look at the whole hijab thing, one of the things that comes out from that side is Article 30, or like is the freedom for like religious schools not afforded to the majority community. And I'm not getting into the merits or demerits. I'm not well informed on that topic. But what I would say is like if those points are addressed, and if there are merits there, then I think it's kind of disarming, right? Because then you're not like attacking an identity, you're not attacking other people's identity, and you're actually looking at the core problem. The
See, I will
issue that I
repeat.
have.
I will go back to what I brought up last time. You are assuming that the problem is equally distributed, right? When you say the core problem, you are assuming that the core problem is equally distributed everywhere, and it is not. There is an enormous power differential. On one side is a religion whose representatives are running the government, making policies that are favoring people from that religion, or at least not favoring people from other religions than that one. On the other side, you have a group which is not in power, is a population wise a minority, is vilified in the media in every possible way. Its representatives are imprisoned without reason in for months and months for the reason that they belong to that religion. You don't see a power differential there. There is a core problem, I understand, but that core problem is not equally distributed across the board.
So let me ask you this, right? So let's say you. So how do you solve this then? Like if you like let's say you go about doing this, like
You solve this by
uh,
questioning those who are in power. If the Muslims
sure,
were in power and they were in majority, and we lived in a country where Islamists were making rules to persecute Hindus, like they sometimes are in Pakistan and Bangladesh, we'll be totally right in criticizing them within that power structure. But in the power structure that exists in our country, where people from our religious background, yours and my religion background, are the most powerful and are actively working to subvert the constitution to make life difficult for people who are from a Muslim background, then we should question those who are in power. And who better to do it than us? If we also fall into the trap of thinking, yeah, but it goes both ways, then it's not going to get solved, right?
yeah. But the thing is, like people in power will always do what people in power do, right? Like that is the nature of power. I
That's
think what
neither here nor there. The fact that they will do what they always do is not in question. They will do
no
what they will always do. The
the
question
point
is, what will we do?
the point I'm trying to get at is you have to come to a system where like they're unable to do that because the population does not want that to happen, right? And the way you get to that is you have to disarm like the fears of a population. And I'm not talking about here, I'm talking about like
That's a
everywhere in the
long-term
world.
solution. That's a long-term solution. I agree with you. In the short term, if you work on a solution to a problem that takes 30 years, many people will die within the 5-year, the multiple 5-year periods that exist within that zone. The long-term solution, obviously, I agree. It's the people who are the problem. You can get rid of one sarkar and another will come elected by these same bigots, right? But you have to also realize that a huge part of the animosity that the majority feels towards the minority is manufactured by those who are in power, by their control over the media, by the encouragement of the violence, by the uh, rewarding of people who commit the violence. In the last 7 years, if there is one thing that has happened repeatedly over and over and over again, it is that a new dynamic has been created about what the law means. If you are Hindu, the law you can break sometimes. If you're Muslim, even if you don't break the law, we will come after you, we will punish you, and it's going to be they're sending a message. They're sending a message where the law is not equal to everyone.
Sure. And I think so if you're talking specifically about India, I think like at the state level, I mean, at the center level, you probably are right. Though, I mean, I don't want to get into whataboutery, so I'll not even bring up any other points. But I don't think at state levels that's actually true, right? So for example, I'll give you like my state, Andhra. Like Andhra is run like it is run by a chief minister who does profess like evangelical values, right? And he is enforcing it using state machinery. So I don't think like even the power structures, like
Right.
while
So
I agree,
I'll make it very simple for you. Any state head who is encouraging any kind of religious function to become part of the governance machinery should be opposed unquestioningly. But you also have to realize that a politician who is encouraging a religion other than the majority religion will not succeed completely, because the power we are talking about is not just political, as you yourself mentioned. It is also something that rests within the voting public. It is not possible right now. If a Muslim man becomes the prime minister of India, you think they will be able to do to Hindus what the Hindutva government is doing to Muslims? No, because they don't have the numbers. So the power is not just in those who are in office right now. It is also in those who brought them to power, and those who continue to support their policies by saying कुछ भी हो जाए हम तो हिंदुत्व के लिए वोट देंगे, हिंदू राष्ट्र बनाएंगे.
sure, and it's kind of
I'm sorry if I'm
देखो
speaking over you a lot. Am I?
नहीं ऐसा ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. I don't think you're
Okay.
speaking over me. It's just that I find it so I okay. I don't want to take away more of your time, and like you have other callers too. Like I guess I'll reiterate my point for the last time and put it. I don't think like we're going to solve problems with like more tribalism or encouraging like for example, right? Like you had a caller before this who was basically saying like and I think you did the right thing there. Like was basically saying like the swastika or like Sanskrit was like what Nazis promoted it or something. Now that kind
Hmm.
of thing, if I'm a regular believer, like I come from the south, it's totally different from the dynamics of up north, right? I don't even know what that is. But when
Hmm.
I hear that, like it's going to like piss me off, right? Like if you don't have like facts to back it, like it is going to piss me off. And
Yeah,
that's a
so
very
that's why I
emotional
asked for the
reaction.
facts.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, that's right. And I'm saying like
But
humans
I
are
think the
emotional.
reliance on, like, see, here's the thing. You brought up tribalism, right? Sorry, I'm speaking over you again.
No,
But you
it's
brought
fine.
up tribalism. Suppose you are an unbiased observer in the war between two tribes. One tribe is enormously powerful, has a lot of weapons, and the other tribe is small. Which tribe do you think you should side with?
Well, I
Regardless
mean
of, you
that's
don't know anything about their motivations.
yeah, I don't think so. That's a straw man, right? Because, for example, like if there is a tribe that decides it's a small tribe and wants to
It is a
eat
straw man
babies, the
because I kind of gave you the benefit of the doubt by saying that you are an unaffected observer. If
yeah,
you are a part of an enormously large tribe which is at war with a very small tribe, and you know that your tribe can destroy them, would you still say that my emotions matter more than their complete extinction? It's a hypothetical scenario. I know it's a straw
yeah,
man. I'm just
and
using
I also
imagination.
I also think it's like very dependent on the person, right? So, for example, for me,
No,
like
I'm asking you. I'm
yeah,
not asking a hypothetical person. I'm asking you. What would you do?
yeah, I'm sure, I'm sure, like the first emotional impulse is to protect it, but I think like the longer term the longer term way that I would approach it is to understand the motivation, right? So, for example, like the example that I was trying to take
Yeah,
is
so long
if you
term,
know.
long term. I know you said you brought up long term, and we talked about it. I said the long term is not going to wait for the war, right? The war is happening right now. Your first impulse is still to protect the less powerful tribe, right?
So, yeah, like,
See, here's the thing.
sure, sure,
I'll make
sure.
something very clear. If you are, if see, the problem with us is that when we are a part of a majoritarian community, na, or a majority community, the long term is an option that is available to us. We can wait. We are not in danger. There are people who cannot wait, for whom the fight is about right now. So you and I can wax eloquent about long term solutions etc for like इसको करने में 30 साल लगेंगे पर ये सॉल्व हो जाएगा. जो आदमी अगले 2 दिन में मरने वाला है उसको इससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता. So you also have to keep that in mind. You have to imagine what they are going through, because this is not something that is purely objective. Emotion does play a role here. What you feel for the small tribe in the first moments of you evaluating the situation needs to be taken into consideration. But anyway, we have spoken for quite a long period of time.
Yeah,
I hope
it
you do
was.
come back and we can take this forward, man. Good conversation. Thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks, Vimoh. Bye.
Thank you.